Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green Industry Raw and Uncut, coming to you live from Lawn Care World TV. I'm your host, Doug Reich, and tonight we've got Trey Driver from Big Buck Mowers and Equipment down in Bonham, Texas. Want to say a huge thank you to John Ryan for our show last week. He came in, obviously, it was our first one. We had some technical difficulties, which obviously we had this evening as well. I couldn't get sound, guys. It was completely my fault, not Trey's. New equipment, new things going on. Worked it out though. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Trey here. Hopefully he's got his microphone on and we're all good to go. You there, Trey?
I am. What's going on, guys?
Beautiful, beautiful. So Trey, why don't you go ahead and start off just by telling us a little bit about yourself? You as a person, not Big Buck Mowers.
Sure. I actually graduated from Texas A&M Commerce. I have my business degree, my bachelor's business degree. While I was doing that, I was actually worked as an insurance agent. So I did that before we started the business. That's kind of a quick rundown of my background.
Sorry, guys, I forgot to put us into the screen when I started talking. So, we're new at this, man. So you got to bear with us a little bit. We're definitely new at this. So, everybody that's out there watching. So, Trey, how did you get? I mean, you're young, right? 27.
I sold my house at the age of 27 to start the business. I'm 30 years old now, just turned 30. So I actually this idea actually came from my dad. Originally, I was going to sell my house, move to downtown Dallas, and maybe work on my master's. But then this came up and kind of an idea that we ran with, and so far it's a great experience.
Yeah, and you're not in a very big area of Texas either. I mean, I looked it up a little bit before the show. I think you live in a town, there's right around 10,000 people there. So, I mean, you're not in a metropolitan area where, the customers are going to flock to you. Does that affect you guys in any way? Has it slowed your growth?
I think the first year was a big learning curve. The foot traffic was definitely not there. But going into the winter, I kind of put my thinking cap on and try to figure out how we could reach customers because we had all the equipment, had all the people in place, had the technician. So the main piece we were missing is customers. So the way I approached it was try to reach out so more people could know who I was and what I did. So that's basically what kind of kicked off the social media marketing. It's really helped us. So,
would you say that's your number one piece of marketing advertisement that you guys use in your business?
Well, we tried using traditional newspaper, tried a little bit of radio, but what I found was I was actually just throwing my money away. So at the same time we were doing that, I was also using social media and I started getting likes and shares and people sharing my content and people telling other people about us. So what I did was I wanted to tell everyone, hey, thanks for sharing my content. Thanks for liking my page. And we started to do events where we gave everyone street tacos. We did street tacos. We did snow cones. We had a bounce house. And it was not geared to sales at all. Didn't throw in any type of special sales event. During that event, it was just, hey, thanks for sharing my page, telling everyone about us.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And customers love that sort of thing. I know I do. My dealer up here does a customer appreciation day, and they do food, and they actually do big sales with their stuff, and they
Right.
kind of revolve that around the sales that they're allowed to have at that time, but kind of the
Right.
same thing, and customers love that sort of thing. So, and one thing that I've noticed with Trey, you guys over talking with him for the past week, he volunteered to do this last week. In a way, I mean, he said, hey, how about we get the dealer's point of view? And I was all about it. I think everybody else on here was all about it. But Trey seems to have a real passion for this beyond, you said it yourself. This isn't what you seen yourself doing 10 years ago. Um, between social media and the promotion and everything that Trey does, you can just see that he has a real passion for the industry. And, that's a beautiful thing from a dealer because now they're buying a product from somebody who cares, and that's a big deal. So, elaborate a little bit on that for us. What made you go, this is what I want to do?
Well, I wasn't for sure at first. I sold my house, so I had a lot on the line to be successful. Now, it's all about the customer because the customer is what's key. Without a customer, there is no business. So I spent many nights going above and beyond. I remember driving out to Oklahoma, and after working a long day and getting home at 2 o'clock in the morning, just because I agreed to do something above and beyond to win that customer over. So, yeah, it's all about the customer and trying to, especially landscapers. Landscapers, they do this for a living, and they really need their equipment to make the money. And when the season's over, it's over. That money's not being made back again somewhere else.
Right. It's tough. I'm up here in Michigan. Our season is over. I wanted to get out and do a couple more cleanups today, but we had about 40 to 50 mile an hour winds all day, and you could probably hear them outside my window, which is right next to me. And it was nasty today, man. But we got snow coming, so that's a good thing. So now tell us a little bit more about Big Buck Mowers and equipment. You guys, I know you guys sell Gravely mowers.
Right.
Tell us about your brands. Tell us why you chose those brands, and why you will continue to sell those brands in the future.
Our brands have kind of changed a little bit when we opened. Now, when we started the business, we were originally going to start with a certain brand, and at the last minute, they kind of backed out on us. And I think starting any business, a lot of people are not going to have faith in you, especially if you don't have any experience in that industry. So at the last minute, our main vendor backed out on us, and luckily, the Gravely reached out to us, the Aaron's Gravely brand, and their sales rep actually believed in what I was believing, what I envisioned. So that was our first brand, was the Gravely Aaron's brand. Right around that same time, we brought in Toro. Toro came along, had a handheld a piece of equipment that we were carrying that ended up changing down the road. Now we're rolling with Steel. Steel's a great piece of equipment, great brand. And not only that, what benefited us is they're very close to our location. So if I have to run to the warehouse to pick up a part to have a customer's piece of equipment out faster, then I'm able to do that.
That's a good thing. So what you say that Gravely and Aaron's saw, they wanted to do what you wanted to do in the industry. So what was that exactly? I mean, what are you trying to change, being a dealer?
Right. What I see is, like I said, I'm not from this industry. I'm still pretty fresh and pretty green. But what I see is a lot of individual mom and pop dealers. And the bad thing is when you go buy a piece of equipment, whatever brand it is, and you go to one dealer and you go to the next dealer, go to the next dealer, you're going to have 3 different experiences. And I kind of wanted to streamline that, where if you go into one location and or you go into the next location, you're going to get that same experience, know what to expect as far as wait time, warranty, different policies within those stores. They're all the same, so you know exactly what you're going to get, how you're going to be treated.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, customer service, obviously, with 95%, 99% of the people being in just the page that we're streaming from, customer service is number one, no matter what you're doing. And I think everybody understands that and everybody knows that. So, so you said earlier you carry Steel?
We carry Steel, Toro, and the Gravely Aaron's brand, which we carry some Aaron's, we carry some Gravely, depending on what we feel is the area.
Gotcha. So what would be your service area? Obviously, you're not in a huge town. Are you trying to draw people from, I know you're an hour and a half away from Dallas. You're probably an hour away from a big city in Oklahoma.
Right. The thing is, when you're buying a piece of equipment, it's not like you're buying something that you're going to buy once a week. You're going to buy it, and you're going to usually hang on to it for a few years, depending on how much you're using it. So, I've had people drive as far as hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes to my shop to buy a piece of equipment from me. And that goes back to the mom and pop shop type of setup. When someone's looking for a piece of equipment that may be a homeowner, where are they going to buy it? They're going to Google, they're going to look around, they don't know who they're buying it from. That's kind of why social media kind of took off for me.
Absolutely. I mean, it gives it a personal touch, and that's I go back to my dealer again. That same thing I get from him. It makes you feel like a friend. So,
Right.
you touched on your service, and you touched on your warranty, and you touched on how do you do that for a customer that drives an hour and a half to buy a mower from you? Obviously, it's not going to be the same as the guy who lives in town. I mean, do you go pick that mower up for him? Do you? What special do you do for that guy?
Right. Service is a real tough thing to tackle because there's so many pieces involved, and we try to keep a pretty well balance between those pieces that we have to deal with to get us through. As far as the distance, usually it's someone that's residential, so they may not have to service it as much, but if they have to make the drive, and you're probably familiar with going out of your way to make sure that whoever's working on your piece of equipment is do it right, and things do happen. This is mechanical stuff that sometimes you need to diagnose things, and sometimes it does take some time, but know that it's going to get taken care of.
Absolutely. So where do you see yourself? I mean, obviously you're how many years in business now? 2?
We bought our property February 2016. We opened in May 2016. So about a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? This question actually comes from somebody watching right now.
In 5 years, I hope to expand where we're at to make sure we got a good foot planted down where we're at as far as bottom, and then I would like to, like I said, I envisioned locations where customers can go in and get the same experience.
Right. Okay, so let's talk. I mean, we took a poll earlier this week in Lawn Care World, and I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning. This show is exclusive to Lawn Care World TV. We only beam that from here. We took a poll inside of the page. Trey actually made it because he wanted to know what you guys wanted to talk about. And you guys responded. So we're going to do a couple of those questions. Let's start with financing. Some of these guys out here, we've got a lot of new people in the page. We've got, in all the pages who don't know that, a lot of times they can go get the mower that they need for the job that they need, through a guy like you. I mean, let's talk about financing and how easy it is and what you use and the tools that you use to make sure that somebody's walking out with what they need.
Right. I would say that as a dealer, the dealership is set up similar to the automotive dealership industry, where, you'll go in and you'll get financed. Now, for everyone watching, always better to get your own financing from the dealer standpoint. The dealer's going to be able to work with you a little bit more just because they're not having to deal with, the financing charges that could be incurred. So it's always best to have your own financing, but yes, you can do financing in-house, and there's several different options, from going to big zero-turn mowers to small piece of equipment or supplies that you may need, like string or oil and stuff like that.
Guys even finance string and oil, huh?
Yeah, so you can. I mean, it's the thing is when you're in the season, a lot of times the wife may be taking care of the books and she wants to pay one bill at the end of the month, and that's kind of what helps it there.
Sure. Okay. So what about, dealer support, to us as lawn care operators and owners and stuff like that. Dealer support may mean something completely different to us than it does to you. So what how would you describe your role in dealer support?
I think that, like I said, if you go to 3 different dealers, you're going to get 3 different answers from 3 different points of view. My point of view is I understand that this season's only so long because it's the same for me. It's only so long, so I only have so much time to work with. So it's kind of priority to get landscapers in and out because that's how they feed their family. Now, as far as back end stuff, get all the paperwork to get warranty work pushed through for our customers, and we also take care of the warranty paperwork, registering your equipment before you leave the shop. So when you leave, good to go. No matter if you come back to my shop or you take it to another shop, you don't have to spend your time trying to figure out is your piece of equipment registered.
So how would you describe, your business? Obviously you guys service and sell. What percentage of your business's income would you say comes from each side? Do you make more servicing or do you make more selling?
Servicing is definitely always be more. It's really tough because, as a dealer, you're basically the middleman. Customers come in expecting to get a deal, which I don't blame them, but there's a very small margin. And there's so many different fees attached to selling a piece of equipment that the dealer ends up having to eat. And the dealer can only eat so much of those costs. So definitely make more money on the service side. And there's only so much equipment you're going to sell. So if a landscaper or someone that's looking to buy a piece of equipment, I always would recommend catch those, 1-unit fleet deals. That's the best way that you're going to get a deal. Or see if you can pick up a demo unit. So a lot of times, especially your bigger dealers are able to get more demo units. I know for me, my volume has increased so much that we're going to get 10 demo units or so.
Gotcha. Do you guys now? Does your company, Big Buck Mowers and Equipment, do you guys have an online sales presence, or is it all kind of in shop? I mean, do you guys sell equipment online and ship to buyers?
We don't, because the thing is, the shipping cost on big pieces of equipment is so expensive. Now, we're looking at smaller merchandise that you can buy that's easy to get. When you start getting parts, for example, then you start having to run into issues like, is this part going to be compatible? Or if you get it, you ordered the wrong part, then that becomes kind of a headache there. So that's something that we're still thinking about, but we're still also trying to fix those problems before we run into it.
Gotcha. Let's go back. I'm going to touch back on the financing thing because we do have a question on that. So what you did mention that obviously it's better if you walk in, you're already have the check from the bank in your hand and we're ready to go. But what types of programs do you offer for the people that don't? Do you guys use Sheffield Financial? I believe that's who it is.
Sheffield is a big player in the financing. TD Bank is be another one that's slowly moving in, or actually they're moving in pretty quick in the financing as far as equipment. And I wouldn't rule out your small credit unions. Credit unions are a great way to get finance for stuff like that.
Right. Okay, so what about, obviously we touched on Facebook earlier that you use to advertise, and I know at least for my business, Facebook is probably 99.9% of my advertising. I put the most effort there. That's where I put all my time into because I see the best return. Now that may be
Right.
different for everybody in different areas, but as a dealer, what other types of advertisement do you utilize to try to drive people to your company?
I mean, that's really tough. I see other dealers using older methods, but to me, I don't get a good return on my investment whenever you start doing, your traditional methods. I much rather buy equipment where I'm able to push out more content that's going to help customers, whether it's how-to videos, and different videos that's going to help them. And also, that's how you attract more business into your store. It's not always about selling someone. And I think a lot of people that is they always gear towards selling, 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 and a lot of times you push your business away by doing it or attacking it that way.
You seem needy. You seem needy for that sale.
Right.
At least that's my opinion. Um, so I know we touched on a little bit earlier that you did the bounce houses and you did the barbecue, the street tacos for your customers, just as a kind of an open house day. Um,
Right.
but besides that, what do you do really big to separate? Because not everybody's going to hear about that. Not everybody's going to drive by and see that event. What do you do to separate yourself from the other dealers in your area to where the word of mouth is what helps you gain
Right.
their friends' business?
Well, I think that this business is really competitive, and I think that the entry to this business is very hard. So you're going to have a lot of your traditional owners that maybe are passing this business down, and they're not familiar of social media. And really, that's really the only way that I meet people. I mean, I've met people online, and then I end up meeting them in real life, and that's the key. That's the key of building a relationship. I've built relationships with people, weeks before I even met them, but they've already sent business to me just because they know who I am, and why would they not send them my way?
Right, definitely. I mean, you're becoming their friend, not just their salesman,
Right. I'm
so to
not,
speak.
like I said, I'm not trying to pitch and sell. Yes, I'll do videos, but if you watch my videos, I'm not trying to sell you in every single video because it's not going to happen that way. You don't Getting a sale is a byproduct of something that if you're trying to force it down someone's throat, it's not going to happen.
Right. I know I won't buy a car if somebody's trying to make me buy it. That's for certain. And in fact, it drives me
Right.
nuts. Um, so I'm gonna look through here real fast, see if we've got any more questions that I haven't seen. Blaine wants to know if you can sell him a mower in Louisiana.
Is it during Mardi Gras? Because I was that's a reason to go, right?
Right. Okay, so next Mardi Gras, what is that? February?
Sometime in February.
February? Blaine, that's when you need a new mower, and Trey will hand deliver it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so that's about all I got tonight, guys. I mean, Trey, is there any other info that you want to let us in on? Any secrets, anything that you think that people want to know?
Right. I actually had a landscaper reach out to me. I think it was earlier today, and he was asking me about how to get started. And if you're really thinking about getting started in this industry, I would definitely think twice because this is not an easy industry to get into. Margins are very, very small as far as equipment, very competitive. And if you think that you're going to open up your store and open up your doors and people are just going to flock in, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. And you really, really have to chase your customers to let them know who you are. And it doesn't happen overnight.
No, definitely not. And any company is that way. I mean, if you don't have the drive and you're not going to go out there and hustle and you're not going to put the work in that needs to be done to transform you from that guy on the bottom to the top,
Right.
it's not going to happen for anybody, you know.
Right.
So Blaine wants to know what two-cycle brands you carry. I think we already covered that. Is it just steel?
It's just still a moment.
Okay. Um, Scott wants to know, do you see anything in the near future that's going to be changing from y'all's point? Like, do you see mowers coming out that we don't even know about yet, or different types of trimmers that are coming out with steel? I bet he can't answer that one.
You know, I've heard still working on new equipment. They have some wireless type of mowers, but as far as big pieces of equipment, I mean, Steel's such a big company, and they're not going to let a small guy in Bonham, Texas, know all their secrets. But of course, I think the market is really, really competitive. So I think you're going to see a shift in a lot of the manufacturers trying to get in different industries or different types of equipment.
Sure. Sorry, I just got confused by a comment on the screen. My job is hard. I got to watch both, you know.
Right.
So, but everything's looking good here. You know, where do you see, from a dealer's point of view, where do you see the industry, the lawn care, the green industry, in 5 years?
In 5 years, it's kind of tough because in 5 years, the lawn industry, I think, is going to move pretty slow. You're going to see equipment basically still stay the same as far as how it's manufactured. But if you watch closely to the auto industry, I think that eventually you go down that road. I mean, look at Tesla. I mean, Tesla's making battery-powered cars that travel 310 miles, only cost you 35,000. So I think eventually you're going to see that same stuff happen within the lawn industry.
Do you see, you know, myself and my dealer were talking about this the other day. I was testing out the new Shindawa battery operated equipment.
Right.
You know, and him and I were talking, and I kind of said, you know, within 5-10 years, it just seems like everything's going to switch over that way to where it's going to be battery operated equipment, you know, and his comment was that, you know, the first person who comes out with a really good, solid battery operated blower is going to change the game. You know, so where do you see the battery operated market going within, you know, the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think it's going to grow, or do you think that it's just going to topple off and people are going to say, you know what, I've stuck with my 2-cycle equipment for this long. That's what I'm going to use.
Well, I mean, like I said, it goes back to the auto industry. The biggest problem that Tesla has is lithium batteries. And lithium batteries are still kind of a hard technology to deal with. It's hard to manufacture so many. They're having to build a giga plant to manufacture just lithium batteries. And I think that that's one of the problems that this industry is going to have is the lithium batteries. But I think even if someone came out with the best piece of equipment that operates off of a battery, you're still going to have some pushback from the traditional, hey, I can just put fuel in it and just keep going. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna end up having to carry a whole bunch of batteries if you're a commercial landscaper and you're hitting and working from early in the morning till late at night. How many batteries can you carry? They get pretty expensive also.
I got pretty big walls in my trailer, man.
Right.
solar panel up top, you know, keep them charged all day long. But no, I mean, I tried the equipment out a little bit. I didn't do, you know, I didn't go and do a full review on it or anything, but the power was there. I mean, it seemed like a good piece of equipment. It had a runtime of 2 hours, you know, and I don't see many people running around with a trimmer in their hand with the trigger pulled, you know, full time, to where it's, you know, 2 hours is quite a long time, really. So
yeah, I was really surprised when we got the steel equipment in and they brought the battery powered handhelds. You know, now there's two versions. There's one that has a built-in battery and there's one that is actual battery pack. Now the battery pack steel equipment is they're pretty good. They're pretty good, and they're I would say they're comparable to, for example, the blower is comparable probably to your entry level gas powered blower.
So like a smaller, Echo PB 580 or something of that sort, or a handheld, or are you talking a handheld, or are we talking a backpack?
Handheld backpack. I don't think for a battery operated backpack competition. I think that's gonna be real tough.
That's it. I think it's going to take a while. I do think that we're going to see it. I just, how soon and what's the quality going to be like is going to be my question. So I think, unless you got anything else for us, Trey, I think that's about all I got, man.
No, I mean, that's really it. Just be sure to go to my Facebook page, give us a like. I'm going to be trying to do more YouTube videos. It's just me, trying to be at the shop and make these videos, so it does make it difficult. But one of the things I've been trying to do is actually go out with landscapers to actually see what's going on in the field. So I know what to expect when landscapers come in, and it's also a great way for landscapers to get kind of, I wouldn't say publicity, but get exposure for their own business on these videos.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my dealer was a mower, so he knows, but for you to go out and see how the equipment that you're selling is working in the field, what they, like you said, what they do on a daily basis. I mean, that's a big deal, and the fact that you're even interested in doing something like that to me is a big deal. So, hey guys, I'm going to post up the links after we're all said and done on this video, once it's all downloaded and all that. So you'll have everywhere to go where you can see Trey. Huge thank you to Trey. He kind of volunteered for this. I had a super busy week, so I didn't have as much time to talk with him as I did John Ryan. But I think we covered some pretty good stuff here tonight. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate it a ton. I want to say that make sure you check out the shows that we've got coming up. Tomorrow night, I believe Sierra Saint is going to be starting with Women in the Industry. Tomorrow afternoon, I believe that Scott Hans is going to be starting his show. I think he's working on it now, so whether or not that happens, we're going to see. Sunday nights, you can catch the Lawn Care News with One Love Lawn Care. Monday mornings, we've got Blaine's Monday Motivation. And then, guys, we're always looking for more live hosts, live people. If you want to do a show on here, get with us. We will help you. We'll do everything we can to make it happen. We're also looking for sponsors. I know that Trey is on here. Trey is pretty much shown on every one of our videos. Guys, it doesn't take much. You can ask Trey. We just want some guys to help us throw in. So, Trey, thank you so much. I appreciate it a ton. If you guys have any questions about equipment or anything like that, be sure to hit Trey up. Like I said, I will post the links. And you guys have a good night. I appreciate you watching.